Hello, everyone, and welcome to your next session of the day. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Next up, we have Rose Chen, and she's the Head of Innovation at WESCO International. And today her talk is entitled AI for the Supply Chain. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Rose Chen. You can come on out and join us and turn on your camera. Hello, perfect.
Hi.
Hi, okay, great. I'm just going to turn off my camera and you can share your slides and take it away.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. It's my honor to join today's conference and talk about WESCO. And I would like to introduce myself, Rose Chen, and I am leading innovation partnerships and investments at WESCO International. And I wanted to spend today's time to talk a little bit about high-level overview of WESCO and how we innovate at WESCO, leveraging AI ecosystem in corporate innovations, and some of the lessons that we learned from our initiatives. So WESCO is a publicly listed company with nearly 100 years of experience in the global supply chain industry. And we have recently completed the merger with Annister in June 2020. And the combined company now has $17.2 billion in revenues in 2020. And we are a global supply chain distributor of electrical and communications solutions to about 150,000 industrial and enterprise customers. We also have 800 warehouses and branches in 50 countries globally. We carry a broad variety of products ranging from electrical and electronic solutions, communications and security solutions, and utility and broadband solutions. And in WESCO, we have access to 1.5 million products, which is an equivalent of $2 billion in inventory. We collaborate with a lot of strategic suppliers from all over the world and have a strong relationship with many of the well-known industrial brands. And in terms of our customers, we span across multiple verticals, including construction, power and utilities in the industrial sectors, technology companies such as data centers, government, hospitals, and manufacturing. And during this COVID-19 period, WESCO is actually an essential business. We provide critical infrastructure to hospitals, government utilities, and institutions. We innovate with our technology partners in this critical environments in order to meet our customer needs during this time. We offer safety and security solutions, such as thermal monitoring solutions that will really help our customers to ensure health and safety. And we also collaborate with emerging technologies in AI and computer vision to detect body temperature. During this time period, we have been critical in supporting healthcare and emergency team by responding with urgency. We very recently provide hospital-grade power solution to a temporary hospital site in New York, and we were able to fulfill the orders within 5 days. During this time, we do see that supply chain has been impacted by the pandemic, and it's important for us to provide customers with the latest status for the capacity planning. Now, let's talk about how WESCO is innovating. We collaborate with our technology companies in our ecosystem to develop digital technologies and data-driven solutions for the B2B distribution value chain. And I'd like to also spend some time here discussing the most recent industry trends we're observing. WESCO, we primarily serve industrial and enterprise customers. And we are seeing some favorable trends for AI adoption in the industrial sector. For the longest time, the industrial sector are seeing a lag. And we do believe that the economic impacts of new technologies and business model in these industries can be huge. And we're also aware that during this pandemic, there are supply chain disruptions. The crisis actually increased the awareness of managing supply chain risk. And we believe that the pandemic has accelerated the digital industrial transformation to a new level. It actually becomes an inflection point for a digital era. We're seeing increased attention to robotics and automation, heightened interest in workers' safety and digital workplace, which is what we call the future of work. And e-commerce and online transactions have taken center stage. Online transactions, PayPal's CEO has indicated that they sped up online transactions by 3 years, and they have experienced the largest ever day of transaction volume during this pandemic time period, even above Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And Visa also sees its online transaction expand at double the rates pre-pandemic. From an investor's perspective, we're seeing a surge of interest in purchasing software deals in the digital transactions, industrial transformation. There's definitely a growing appetite to accelerate in the construction and industrial software industry. In summary, we're anticipating a lot more disruptive innovation in the industrial sector. And we believe that AI is well positioned to play a pivotal role, as AI really helps us to see patterns others would miss, and even create a new business model or a new business line. And in WESCO, we like to think of our data as our strategic assets. WESCO has nearly 100 years of history as a captive distributor house of Westinghouse. So we have a long history of historical data assets across the supply chain, from procurement needs of our customers to inventory data in our 800 warehouses, to transportation and logistics data that provide flexible and time-sensitive delivery to our customers. We strive to unleash the power of data to develop a portfolio of intelligence across the organization. And WESCO is also very customer-centric. It is our focus to enhance customer experience. So we do believe that by leveraging AI, we'll be able to identify patterns that help us to enhance our customer experience and to reduce the total cost of ownership for customers. And in WESCO, we work very closely with our suppliers on the upstream, and we continue to see the downstream demand from our customers across the supply chain. And we believe it is important for us to collaborate with all the parties to eliminate silos. We know that we cannot do everything by ourselves. So in our innovation office, we actively collaborate with our digital ecosystem, which includes leading venture capitalists, accelerators, tech hubs, ISVs, system integrators, service providers, to really help us to accelerate our innovation initiatives. And most recently, we have been recognized by Supply Chain Executive as the most innovative company in 2020. And we also recently received the Internet of Things Award from Plug and Play, a global innovation platform. We are interested in expanding our AI-based applications to our customers in the following areas: digital constructions, data centers, grids, and smart cities. So in this last section, I'd like to share some of the lessons and best practices we have learned from investing our time and resources in the AI space. Based on WESCO internal experience, and also I have multiple conversations with our partners in the innovation ecosystem, I would like to summarize some of these lessons to share with you all. I'd like to highlight 3 of the best practices that will help to serve as a foundation for a successful engagement in AI initiatives. Number 1, prioritize use case for AI. Number 2, address benefits that can be achieved with AI beyond efficiency. Number 3, set expectations for engagement. Let's talk about best practice number 1. It is important for us to be selective when we choose what the use case is for AI. We look at a number of criteria that helps us to determine what is the best use case for AI. This includes strategic fit, team and execution, and data assets. Let's talk about strategic fit. Some of the questions that we would ask when we determine the best use case is, does this particular use case or the identified need align with key strategic initiatives that will help us to unlock long-term and recurring value to the organization? How can we identify an attainable scope? This would include there's good representation of the data that represents the products or similar assets. And in the problem that we're trying to solve, can we scale the solution across the organization in the future? And it's also very important for us to determine success criteria very early on and identify expected business outcome. Second, team and execution is a very important area where we see a lot of projects stumble. It is important to establish ownership and accountability and set expectations for those that are involved in the projects. Identify the key players that needs to be involved in these projects. That could include sponsors, project manager, product managers, subject matter experts that can actually provide support on business cases, business processes, and characteristics of the assets that we are analyzing. End users, such as business analysts, data scientists, can also provide additional inputs. Last but not least, data assets. We want to ask the question, is the use case a complex, big problem that have multiple sources of data that we need to collect? Do we have access to historical data across the branches, operations, regions? Also, take the time to understand the data in context, especially when it relates to business process or customers. Best practice number 2. Based on the most recent Deloitte paper that has been published this year, they have surveyed a number of corporate leaders and innovators in AI, and the majority of these people that answered to the survey, actually over 25% of them, identified process efficiency and enhancing existing products and services as the top benefits that can be achieved with AI initiatives. But when we dig deeper into the findings, we notice that more than a third of those surveyed also identify benefits other than driving efficiency. More than 30% of those answer the surveys achieve the following outcome: improving decision-making, making employees more productive, discovering new insights that actually empower stakeholders, enhancing relationships with customers, and creating new products and services and business model. The conclusion is, if you are AI practitioners or corporate innovators, take the time to collaborate with your stakeholders to identify benefits beyond just efficiency. Last but not least, this is our third best practice. Set expectations. As we collaborate with partners during the life cycle of prototyping and developing models in AI, it is essential to set and manage expectations. AI project can be complex with pre-work, There's data collections during the discovery phase, configuration, feature extraction, comparing algorithms and parameters during the design phase, training the model and validating hypotheses. It's an iterative process where AI practitioners engage with business owners and subject matter experts. There are lots of challenges and obstacles along the way when we go through this reiterative process during the innovation journey. So here's the takeaway. Be collaborative. It is important to take the time to jointly define the scope and success criteria with stakeholders. It's actually not a bad idea to write it down and verify it with the stakeholders and revisit it from time to time. Do not look at this as a transaction. Just get the scope and success criteria and it's done. Think of it as a partnership as we co-innovate. Be curious. After receiving the collection of data from the customers, take the time to understand the data in context to fully address customer needs. Usually, subject matter experts are the ones that have deep business knowledge and can answer some of the questions to address the pain and the problems. And don't be surprised that in an AI project, human is actually important. Be communicative. There's never a place for over-communication. As I just mentioned before, AI project is complex. So by being transparent about each step of the innovative process and proactively validate the business rules and understand the data in context will really help to address any resistance or cultural paradigms between the data practitioners and the business leaders. As I'm wrapping up this talk, I'd like to share with you the feedback we have collected from corporate leaders and partners that have been involved in the AI initiatives and what they have to say in terms of the impact of this journey. Interestingly, this includes not just achieving measurable KPIs and business goals, but also mastery of skills in AI initiatives, developing a purpose to learn from failures, and they're empowered to see their recommendations being implemented. In summary, we're hearing from corporate leaders saying that for those that participated in the AI initiatives, they are definitely seeing the many possibilities that AI can offer. And it is not just efficiency they are seeing, it's empowerment to make better decisions with the data. Gaining a sense of purpose because they are learning how to learn from failures and mastering a new skill. It is only natural for humans to fear technologies they feel might fundamentally change their work. From the feedback that we have received so far, it is also important to recognize that AI will only help them to do their job better. I believe that people are the most important asset in the organization. And I really hope that this talk will help us to set aspirations to develop more talents in AI, as this will continue to play a much bigger role in this unprecedented era and offers a differentiated approach for successful engagement. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Rose. That was great. Everyone, please give her a warm virtual round of applause. If you could please unshare your screen and your camera for a moment. And I hope you all enjoyed, and please make your way to your next session or check out one of our virtual booths and have a great time.